We're here in Colorado in beautiful snowy conditions to drive none other than Lexus's RX350. This is, of course, the F-Sport model. It has a 270 horsepower motor that puts out 248 foot-pounds of torque. Because it's the F-Sport, it has retuned suspension, it has an 8-speed automatic transmission versus a 6-speed in the standard model, and it comes stock with all-wheel drive. So we're going to see how it does here in Colorado. Let's look at the interior before we go anywhere. First off, nav system. It's high resolution, but honestly, because Audi exists, that is not good enough. The resolution is high, the screen is big, but it uses this haptic little slight nudgy response system, which is just kind of erratic to use. You can click on menu, and then it has this just ugly menu. And honestly, this nav system would have been fine a few years ago. But then Audi upgraded their system, and everything else just looks lame. Seriously, Lexus, get with the program. Standard aircon. It's nice that aircon is actually buttons. I hate it when they bury it inside a menu, so as soon as you turn the car on, you have to fidget through everything to get to it. That's just kind of lame. So here, buttons, good. It has a CD player. Remember those CDs? Yeah. The gauge cluster is nice, simple. I like that. I think that looks good. The materials. Whoa, no, disconnect. I don't want destination assist. Apparently I hit destination assist. What button did I hit for that? Materials, nice soft touch plastics. This, could use a little bit better design, I think, but overall it's serviceable. And you have memory seat positions. The seat's relatively comfortable, trimmed with leather. This is Lexus's Sport wheel. It has all the buttons you would expect, plus has a little F-Sport badge down here and paddle shifters up here. Now, the one thing you gotta wonder about this car is it's an F-Sport, which is supposed to be sporty. You know, the Lexus ISF? That's a sporty sedan. Now here, how sporty can a big SUV really be? Between the F-Sport and the standard RX, the motor is exactly the same. It's a 3.5 liter V6 that puts out 270 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque, which is respectable, but remember, this is a big, heavy SUV, 4,500 pounds. So the road is now absolutely covered in snow. It is still snowing heavily out. Let's take it for a spin and see just how well this all-wheel drive system does in Colorado snow. Wow, that's a really long stick there. That's a big stick. We're on Flagstaff Mountain just outside of Boulder. It actually reminds me very much of Pikes Peak, which is only a few miles away. It has very tight, twisty turns and some pretty severe inclines. I mean, some of these are really steep, like right here. And then this is a 10-mile-per-hour turn. Yeah, it wants to plow the nose right off the edge. It doesn't want to scoot that back around, which is kind of, I guess, not too surprising, but it would be nice if flooring it would give me a little bit more rear action. Now the road is absolutely covered in snow right now. I can see no asphalt. And we're actually keeping a pretty good clip, doing 30 miles per hour on this quicker part of the road and keeping it down. Not too bad. Get it straightened up here in the snow. Now we're on a pretty steep incline. Let's floor it and see what happens. Wheel spin. Oh, traction control grabs. It wants to spin the wheels, which is kind of fun, but it doesn't exactly. Yeah, it feels like the front wheels are doing that scamper thing, trying to grab onto traction here. So this, of course, comes with a 270 horsepower V6 motor, and it sounds nice, and it puts down a decent amount of power, but it doesn't make this car very quick. The problem is, of course, the electronic lag that comes from the throttle control system. Remember when everybody was accidentally throttling into things? Well, they fixed it by programming in a delay. Let me demonstrate. Floor all the way down. 1, 2. See, that's kind of lame. But that's not a problem with this car uniquely. A lot of cars are like that these days. Disappointing, but passable. Now this isn't a CVT, and that's kind of nice. You actually get more power down, and you can tell what gear you're in, and when you're using the paddle shifters, you actually are shifting gears. So you can kind of control your power delivery a little bit better. That said, if you're going up a steep incline and you're throttling it, it's still, the traction control system is going to cut you off. The haptic control system here is this little joystick, and it's a little tricky to use while driving. You could feel it go ping, ping, ping on your hands, giving you feedback. But the interface is such a mess, it's kind of hard to find anything unless you've been with this vehicle for a long time. So if you're just going to pop in and try to take control of it, it's a little bit more challenging than it probably should be. Setup, display, menu, yeah, but you can go back to map pretty easily, which is nice. Okay, now we're going to go on a decline, and we're going to feel the traction control, the ABS system kicking in, preventing us from sliding forward. It's effective, and it seems to work pretty good. It's not as subtle as the Mercedes system, though. You know, this car is very comfortable to ride in, but I don't quite understand why they call it F-Sport tuned suspension. It honestly just feels like another SUV. The body roll, I mean, that's a little bit of roll. That is not minor. F-Sport? Whatever. You can buy this car in a 2-wheel drive version, and you can option it up to a 4-wheel drive as well. But that comes standard with 18-inch wheels. It does not have the F-Sport tuned suspension. I would imagine that one would be almost a soulless husk of a car, because honestly, this F-Sport is really good. I like it, but not because it's sporty, because it's not. It's just a nice SUV that does a lot of things pretty well, and that's okay. But seriously, take the F-Sport badge off. There's nothing sport about this SUV. It's a good, competent, capable SUV. But as for F-Sport, no, it's not an F-Sport. So many car makers take a badge to make a car something special, and they always do the same things. They modify the sway bar, and we're going to improve the shocks and all that. But they do it in such a minor way that it no longer becomes a fun, enjoyable car. It's just a slightly better version of the base car. And that's okay to a certain point, but don't call it a sport model. Call it a bonus plus or the extra banana, or call it the gold plated edition. I don't care, but don't call it sport simply because you want to charge more money for it and give it what it should have had in the first place. That's not fair. Turning is pretty good. It doesn't feel muddy. The handling is actually decent in these slow, methodical, snowy conditions. But these conditions are going to be honestly about as bad as you're ever going to see for this type of a vehicle. And if it can pass this, it can do, rain and down the street in your typical city just fine. Okay, so now we've tried it in the snow. Let's go to the lower elevations and see how well it does on wet pavement. Again, it's fine by itself, but you call it, oh wait, this is actually kind of fun. Oh, I'm liking this. This is actually kind of fun. I'm rethinking my dislike for the F-Sport badging on this car. You put it into manual mode and it comes alive. The just kind of lacking the snow would be better though. That is about a 1,000-foot drop right there. Don't want to go off. Yeah, that's a little icy. Ooh, yeah. Makes nice noises too. Another hairpin. Love these hairpins. So downshift. But can't find the paddle because it's attached to the steering wheel, not to the stock. That's always I prefer it to be on the stock so you always know where it is. But when you're spinning the wheel, sometimes you can't find it. Yes, you could use it down here, but it kind of defeats the purpose of steering wheel mounted things. Ooh, yeah. I think the thing with the body roll is that yes, it's there, but it's very limited. Going back and forth, I can get it to do this, but when you're actually cornering in real corners, for the size of this vehicle, it's kind of fun. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. Wow, throttle! So what did we learn? Well, on the super steep uphill portions in the snow, this car isn't a lot of fun. It just doesn't have enough power to really get full sideways or to even want to have fun. The traction control system is so conservative in it. It just doesn't let you have any enjoyment for the harsh conditions. And that's kind of sad. But really, when you get it onto wet or dry pavement and you put it into manual mode, the RX actually kind of comes alive. I mean, granted, yeah, the steering's a little numb and the handling is a little on the soft side, but let's look at what this thing really is, okay? It's a 4,500-pound SUV, Lexus. Yeah, don't call it a sport. So that is the 2014 Lexus RX350. It is a very competent, capable car, even in snowy conditions like this. But don't call it an F-Sport. Call it the extra banana bonus plus or something if you want to. But at the end of the day, what it really is a good, competent luxury car. And that's okay. But don't call it an F-Sport.